economia, é também gerente-geral do Guancha, que é um dos principais veículos informativos ali da China também, e também é pesquisador do nosso Instituto de Pesquisa, do nosso Instituto Tricontinental. O professor Libo é um grande amigo e camarada do MST, da nossa brigada do MST lá da China, a brigada Linjiang, estou aprendendo a falar o nome. É a primeira vez que o professor visita o MST aqui, vem visitar, conhecer o MST aqui do Brasil, então ele chegou aqui na segunda, né, professor? A gente fez uma série de agendas, conheceu o Rio Grande do Sul, conheceu o Instituto EJC, as nossas cooperativas, as nossas experiências também do movimento. Vai conhecer ainda também o acampamento de reforma agrária, então uma visita bastante importante. Nós estamos aqui também com nossos companheiros e companheiras do consulado da China aqui em São Paulo. Sejam bem-vindos e bem-vindas aqui na nossa casa Carlito Maia. E aí, para a gente começar aqui a nossa atividade, está todo mundo então com o radinho, né? Daqui a pouco o professor já vai falar em inglês. Eu vou convidar o companheiro Neuri para apresentar aqui um pouco nessa saudação inicial nossa, também sobre a relevância desse momento para nós, né? A partir desse papel do MST, da nossa visão, desse desafio que a gente tem da articulação dos povos do Sul Global e do papel que a China também tem cumprido sobre isso, e a visita do professor Libó também aqui diz muito sobre isso também, né? Então, o professor depois faz a sua fala, então, Neuri, por favor.
Bom dia, companheiros e companheiras. Primeiro, eu quero manifestar a alegria da presença de vocês nessa casa, nesse espaço. Como a Bárbara disse, aqui é a casa Carlito Maia. E ela foi idealizada, foi construída, foi conquistada para servir exatamente como com eventos como esses, onde a gente pudesse se encontrar, conversar, conhecer e ao menos saber quem nós somos nesses tempos tão difíceis que vivemos nos dias de hoje. Então é uma alegria muito grande ver vida na casa. Esse é o sentido da casa Carlito Maia. E eu espero que se repita com outros eventos, com outras atividades, com experiências e luta de outros povos também. A companheira Zildinete, que coordena a casa, está com essa tarefa de dinamizar esse espaço aqui cada vez mais. A Bárbara já apresentou o professor Libo. Eu só queria dizer um pouquinho como é que ele se aproximou do MST ou como é que o MST se aproximou dele. E talvez a gente tenha que regredir um pouquinho no tempo para compreender melhor essa trajetória que tivemos com o professor Libo. Em 2015, nós realizamos na Escola Florestan aquilo que nós chamamos o segundo Dilemas da Humanidade. O primeiro dilema tinha sido no Rio de Janeiro, em 2003. Foi até uma provocação de uma delegação nossa que foi para o Oriente Médio e conversando com as pessoas, com as organizações daquela região, eles nos provocaram de a gente organizar um evento onde a gente pudesse se conhecer melhor. Naquele momento, isso era 2001, eles diziam: a esquerda sofreu uma derrota histórica no cenário internacional. E nós não sabemos onde nós estamos, quem nós somos, o que nós queremos. Então vamos fazer um evento, pelo menos para a gente tentar responder essas questões. E no Rio de Janeiro foi realizado, então, o primeiro Dilemas da Humanidade, que tinha como subtítulo Diálogo entre Civilizações. Foi feito para a Federal do Rio de Janeiro. Depois o segundo foi em 2015, como eu disse, na Florestan, e aí já era em cima da hegemonia neoliberal no planeta. E nós queríamos entender melhor quais eram os grandes desafios que nós tínhamos naquele momento. O terceiro foi em 2023, na África do Sul. E aí já era uma tentativa de sinalizar propostas para o futuro. Pensar o que a esquerda pensava, o que os movimentos pensavam como propostas de uma sociedade pós-capitalista. Isso foi o terceiro, em outubro, na África do Sul. Agora, voltando ao segundo, que é o motivo dessa apresentação, no segundo nós tomamos duas decisões que me parecem importantíssimas e que elas têm resultados ainda nos dias de hoje. A primeira decisão foi a decisão de criar uma Organização Internacional dos Povos, que nós chamamos de uma Assembleia Internacional dos Povos, AIP. Ela está organizada em todos os continentes, com mais de 80 países. Ela foi fundada em 2019 na Venezuela. Eu estou vindo da África do Sul, que no último final de semana tinha a reunião anual dessa Assembleia. Então ela tem continuidade até os dias de hoje, e ela está crescendo, ela está se estruturando melhor. A Assembleia Internacional dos Povos tem praticamente três bandeiras históricas aí. Uma, promover a luta contra o imperialismo. A segunda é promover a solidariedade entre os povos. E a terceira é exatamente se desafiar a uma proposta política superior à organização capitalista que vivemos nos dias de hoje. Essas são as três bandeiras da Assembleia. A segunda decisão que nós tomamos nessas dilemas da humanidade foi criar um instituto de pesquisa que nós chamamos Instituto Tricontinental, que aqui no Brasil tem uma secretaria e é uma dessas salas no final do corredor ali. Esse Instituto Tricontinental, ele começou a fazer uma aproximação de nós com o povo chinês. E promoveu uma primeira visita à China em 2016. Daqui foi uma companheira e um companheiro da Federal do ABC, foi um companheiro metalúrgico de Porto Alegre, Milton Viário, e fui eu representando o MST. A ideia era que nós tivéssemos uma aproximação da China com universidades de Pequim. Aquela iniciativa ela não avançou muito, infelizmente. Mas desde então nós continuamos tentando nos aproximar com aquela realidade daquele povo. E em 2019 é que nós conseguimos daí ter companheiros e companheiras residindo na China. E desde então nós nos aproximamos cada vez mais de uma forma mais organizada, sistemática, e que está tendo os resultados que nós temos. Nós chamamos uma brigada lá, que não é só de brasileiros, tem argentinos, tem do continente africano, e é exatamente uma tentativa de ter uma relação mais próxima do Sul Global com o povo chinês. E foi nesse espaço que nós conhecemos o professor Ligou. Aquela brigada de lá nos aproximou dele. E desde então ele tem contribuído muito para nós, para conhecer a realidade do povo chinês. Como a Bárbara disse, a formação dele nos permite dar sempre um conhecimento bastante qualificado sobre aquilo. Essa foi a primeira característica que eu vi do professor Ligou, como palestrante da realidade chinesa. Mas nesse tempo todo que a gente tem conversado com ele, nos encontrado, ele demonstra uma segunda característica que eu acho bastante importante. Ele quer conhecer a realidade do povo Sul Global. Há um certo desconhecimento dessa realidade naquele povo, e ele tem se mostrado um persistente pesquisador da nossa realidade. Aqui ele tem insistido que ele quer conhecer o povo mesmo, ele quer conhecer assentamento, foi conhecer a nossa escola, como a Bárbara disse, e ele insiste, e agora ele sinalizou que ele quer conhecer um museu também aqui da realidade brasileira, para entender melhor esse nosso povo. Então essa foi a segunda qualidade. Mas o ano passado, quando eu estive na China, eu conheci uma terceira realidade, uma terceira qualidade dele que me impressionou ainda mais como professor. Eles me proporcionaram a oportunidade de conhecer uma região que foi a última região que saiu da extrema pobreza na realidade chinesa. Uma região camponesa, de comunidades camponesas. E aí eu vi o professor Libo empenhado em conhecer e aprender com o povo chinês. As perguntas deles, a atenção, a humildade de dar tempo para ouvir, eu acho isso uma qualidade de um professor extraordinária. Me lembrou um artigo do professor Michel Ulvi, que uma vez ele escreveu, que era sobre que tipo de intelectuais nós precisamos para os tempos de hoje. E o professor Michel Ulvi dizia, nós precisamos daqueles intelectuais que aprendam com o povo, que superem aquela prepotência de apenas ensinar. Diz, os intelectuais que nós precisamos do povo hoje é os que sabem, que nos resgate o legado do passado, sim, que nos ajudem a interpretar a realidade, sim, mas que também aprendam com o povo. E eu acho que isso é um intelectual que eu vejo no professor Libo e que tem nos aproximado cada vez mais no nosso contato, no nosso convívio e no compartilhamento de conhecimentos e informações que nós temos hoje. Essa é um pouquinho a trajetória de que ele se aproximou daqui. E ele está cumprindo essa agenda exatamente com esse objetivo, de compartilhar conhecimentos e de aprender também sobre a nossa realidade. Deixo ele agora com vocês, porque eu acho que ele tem muito a dizer e vocês também têm muito, creio eu, a perguntar a ele. Obrigado e seja bem-vindo, professor Libo, na nossa casa.
Obrigada, Neuri. A gente só queria fazer uma saudação muito especial, também a cada militante que está aqui, mas ao professor Saviani, nossa grande referência, amiga do MST na luta da área da educação, é nosso professor na Escola Nacional, Florestan Fernandes, e muito contribuiu também para toda a nossa experiência hoje no movimento do tema da educação. Uma honra ter você aqui com a gente, professor, aqui nessa mesa. E ainda também aqui, só para convidar aqui para uma breve saudação do consulado, o camarada Lucas, que é diretor de Relações Bilaterais do consulado, vai fazer uma saudação aqui para o consulado.
Bom dia a todos. Primeiro, para cumprimentar o professor Libo, da Universidade Fudan, e também a liderança do MST e Tricontinental, que é o nosso parceiro permanente. Grande satisfação que participamos deste encontro promovido pelo Instituto Tricontinental de Pesquisa Trabalhadores e MST. Duas instituições com papel fundamental no debate crítico e na construção de alternativas populares no Brasil e na América Latina. E agradeço em nome do Consulado Geral da China em São Paulo pelo convite. E este evento representa um espaço privilegiado para o diálogo entre o Brasil e China, não apenas no campo diplomático, mas também em pensamento social, político, estratégico. A China tem se posicionado no cenário internacional como defensora de paz, do desenvolvimento comum e multipolaridade. Em tempos de profundas transformações geopolíticas, é essencial que ampliemos os canais de compreensão mútua, especialmente com parceiros estratégicos históricos como o Brasil. E saúdo a presença do professor Libo, cuja trajetória acadêmica e atuação no pensamento estratégico chinês enriquecem certamente este debate, e também do MST, que traz a voz e a experiência das lutas populares do campo brasileiro. Desejo, por fim, que este encontro fortaleça os laços de amizade, cooperação, solidariedade entre os nossos povos, governos e instituições. Desejo a todos um excelente debate, que possamos seguir construindo juntos um futuro mais justo e imparcial para as nossas nações. Muito obrigado.
Sem mais delongas, então, a gente quer passar aqui a fala para o professor Nibó. A nossa metodologia aqui é que o professor vai fazer uma exposição de cerca de 50 minutos a 1 hora. Depois a gente pode, então, abrir para interação, perguntas, questões aqui também para essa troca dessa manhã, tá bem? Então, professor, por favor.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. I should say hola. Hola. I'm sorry, I only learned 2 Portuguese words. One is obrigado. And so obrigado nearly introduced me in that prizal. I feel actually I didn't deserve that, but since he called about learning, I will confess I'm a socialist, convinced socialist, but at the same time I'm actually very dedicated Confucianist. And Confucianist people say is a moral philosopher, moral philosophy. But often we call, and increasingly in China, we will call Confucius also one of the 3 religions. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So increasingly in China, the people will call Confucius as one of our 3 actually religions. One Confucianism, and Buddhism, and Taoism. Yeah. So I don't go into actually explain further, but if people ask, what is the most distinct character for Confucius' religion? For me, it's only one: learning. Learning for whole life. Because Confucius said one sentence, 朝闻道，夕可死矣, which means if you got your enlightenment in your learning in the morning, and then you can happily die when at the sunset, within one day. So, and this did encourage me to keep this learning, this curiosity. And I'm here in the country for learning. I'm so sorry I couldn't spend more time. It's only 8 days in total. And last year I went to BRICS summit in Kiel, and only spent 3 days there. And it was a more high level, I would say, national bourgeois, industrial international bourgeois, and the political elite meeting. And this time, so I asked Nero, I said I need to go down to the earth and go into the cooperatives, go to see the people and talk to them. And happily, I'm very happy, MST arranged for my learning desire, and meet my learning desire. And this morning, maybe it's opportunity to share with you what I learned. Yeah, some thoughts I developed before I came here. Yeah, but also combined with my new knowledge about Brazil, about Latin American. So it's not a lecture. Actually, it's for me it's an open dialogue. It just allowed me to do some reporting at the beginning. Yeah. So I will put my report in 3 parts. The first part is about the geopolitics of the global south. So it's how we should understand under the geopolitics. And the second part is about the role of China to play. Yeah. I have to say, actually, the role on the world stage of China was not actually really purposely intentionally designed by China. It's actually incidentally now China came on the center of the world stage. Actually, yeah. Actually, we want to be back to our historical position in Asia. Actually, this was what China wanted. But the surrounding condition changed dramatically. Okay, we will talk later. Yeah. And then the third part, since we're here, we definitely talk about the current relation China, why China values so much with Brazil as the biggest country in Latin American continent, yeah, and also one most developed country in the global south. But in my view, the current relation is actually not optimal. Yeah, maybe I deviate a little bit the position the China authority, the consulate, and the main media present. But I'm a scholar here, so I can also to create some debates, because Tricontinental always cause debates of ideas. Yeah, so I really follow and practice that, and I really appreciate. Since 2021, I become the member of the study group of the Tricontinental on China. I actually encourage me and other Chinese scholars think hard what is mean the internationalism of China. Yeah? And then China can develop implement the model of China modernization. Yeah, it's an alternative path to the modernization. Actually, we know the modernization, the term itself is Western. It's a Western point term. But I will just use that. Yeah, and we in this model of China modernization, actually there is a social value embedded, but how this social value can act internationally, yeah. So it's actually still people figure out. Still, China need to figure out. Yeah, it's not a well done concept yet. So everybody actually we need to contribute to carry this internationalism, which was not so strong in the past 4 decades. From my observation. So in Mao Zedong's time, we carried very strong internationalism, yeah, and we supported the struggle in Africa, and we supported Cuba, and we supported even military fighting in Southeast Asia, yeah. Those countries actually were fearful of China. But since the so-called reform opening era, 1979, 1980, we say, yeah. Since then, China actually say, okay, we need more focus on our domestic socialist development, yeah. And actually, we went a little bit, for my eye, away from the internationalism. But each time, we will have their priority. And for the rational choice, China did their strategic priority for that time. We see, with the expectation of the global south people, we see with the dramatic shifting of the power in the world, now China realized we needed to take more responsibility to go forward. This is why Xi Jinping, when he was in power and he launched the Belt and Road Initiative by 2013-14. And very shortly after, he coined the term, the shared future of the humanity. Yeah? So this is actually the vision for him. But how to actually implement, yeah, in concrete, we still need a long way, lot of experiments, lot of debates. So put this actually in background for you. Yeah, I'm coming back to this. The 3 parts is not strictly actually separated. So first, talk about the the geopolitics of the global south. From my understanding, the geopolitics has at least 5 dimensions. Yeah? So we have the technology competition, we have the military competition, meaning the competition with the global north. Yeah? It means, in the term of tricontinental, hyper imperialism. Yeah? With the global, the hegemony in global south, we call this hyper imperialism. Then we have a third dimension, is the currency or the financial sovereignty dimension. Yeah? And then we have fourth dimension is the media and information control. And then the fifth is the sovereignty around the resource development to serve people, majority of people's interest. So how we do today in these 5 perspectives, I think we do great. This is not only because China, it's because we also, especially with Brazil, comrades' efforts, actually we founded this BRICS platform. Yeah? First is BRIC, and then at South Africa. But South Africa's economic weight is still very limited. Yeah? Sorry to say that. The BRICS together, China, Russia, Brazil. Now we have Iran also in BRICS, yeah? And we have India. Yeah? So those countries together, in the technology space, actually we almost, we can say, same competing with the global north. Yeah? And we don't need to go to the details. Actually, we control a large part of the industrial foundation for technological development. So the output, the manufacturing value added of China already surpassed the total of American, Germany, and Japan combined. Yeah? And then you add Russia, India, Brazil. Yeah? So we are more than the G7. Our industrial manufacturing value added past them already. Yeah? And then the thing is, more we produce our own technology. They cannot, then we break their monopoly in the technology product. They have to reduce their price. Yeah? And we win the market share together. We win the market share. And to leave less revenue for them to do the R&D. They already do very costly R&D. Think about the engineer salary in Germany, or think about the software engineer, the AI engineer in America. Yeah? So it's very costly. They do their R&D. There's no money for them. So they're running out. Yeah? They say, oh, we have this OpenAI, this company, yeah, and we have Microsoft, we have Amazon. It's so-called the 7 sisters. Yeah, those 7 sisters are the high tech company that make actually the 40% of the capitalization of the U.S. stock market. Yeah. The other companies not doing well, but we see this bubble, huge bubble in this so-called 7 sisters. Yeah, and the bubble will go down every minute. Yeah, and then when the bubble comes down, you will see the reality. And what did they do? The American so-called innovation, the economists actually discovered last year. Without the investment in the data center in the US, the economy just grew 0.1%. Even they build a lot of data center there, what are the applications? This is very little applications actually in the US society because they don't have an industry. You need the industry to apply your AI solution. where we have here in Brazil, in China, in India, in Russia, yeah, and even in Iran, those applications for the AI system. So in this space, we think we win. Yeah? Even people ask, okay, how about other fundamental science like biochemical, biomedicine? Can tell you, 2/3 of the new patents actually made in China, yeah, and many made in India. So in that space, they fell also. And the only company we need to pay attention maybe is Tesla, because the Elon Musk is a very crazy guy, yeah, and don't know where he is, from Earth or from Mars. China wonder, yeah, and he can accomplish things. He can still build in America, yeah. Not only Tesla, he can build the robotics, yeah. But he's desperate 2 months ago and say, America cannot compete in the robotics and in the AI computing. Why? Because there's not enough electricity produced in the US. Yeah, no way. And if you overhaul your electricity grid, you need a lot of transformators. And those transformators are all made in China. Yeah. And Huawei also make good, actually, the transformators for grid. Yeah. Huawei is a great company. Yeah. One Huawei is actually 20 US European companies. Yeah. But people will ask why Huawei can be so successful. Because the Huawei have a socialist value in their system. Yeah. The owner, Lin Fei, only get 1% of the company share, and other 90%, the profit will be distributed by all the employees, by the 200,000 employees. This is why the engineers don't leave. They just stay in Huawei, do new business, not do the spin-off like in America, like other company in China, like in Europe. This is socialist value actually contributed to Huawei can so great. Yeah, it means it actually proven what Marx said. If in the highly developed stage of the production, we say the knowledge production, R&D production, the old model of the surplus maximization, yeah, the very crude methodology of the exploitation doesn't work for people anymore. So you need an advanced, you need the emancipation model for human, and then people can fulfill their objective in creation, good things, yeah, values, and then you can increase the productivity. Yeah? Huawei actually proved that. Many companies in China, they start to learn from Huawei. Yeah? Many companies in China, I have to say, private companies still capitalistic think, capitalistic mind, traditional capitalist mind, but they are doing very poor in their competing sector. Yeah? So they need to learn from Huawei and to learn how to become a socialist. And in the second space is the military. In the military, you see what in the Iran conflict, in this war, Iran resisted Israel and America. They struck well. Yeah. Now 3 American embassies already got hit, and 3 so-called anti-missile interception system, THAAD, T-H-A-D, already destroyed. Yeah. And the main media didn't report much, I think. Yeah. Main media didn't report much. Actually, reporters say already 400 US soldiers got killed. Yeah. But people don't know. Yeah. The Washington just downplay. They just distribute other fake information. Yeah. And they pretend they have enough munition to intercept Iran's drones, Iran's cheap-made, self-made missiles. But this war is costly for America. Yeah. the longer this war drags on, the Americans' empire power will go down. Yeah? And don't forget, Russia is fighting another war in Ukraine against NATO. So the imperial systems actually run out of the munition because they don't have the solid manufacturing base anymore. They outsource it to all these countries. Yeah. I don't know how quickly they can rebuild the base using Japan or South Korean support. Yeah. This is great, vital for America to keep Japan and South Korea in their military so capability building, keep their strength still. But another example, this time Iran targeted so precisely, not only because reported the same, Russia provided the location of the American fleets, yeah, and American units in moving. China private companies, satellite companies, also provided a very precise coordinator for the Iranian people to strike. But also very important, last year, after the June 12 days fight, Iran actually moved from the GSP to the Beidou, to the China satellite navigation system. How could you think the Americans allowed Iran to fight a missile on their Saudi embassy with their GPS? Yeah. And you see the picture, it's very precise. Actually, it hit the building in a high precision. Yeah. So this is what all the Beidou system, China system about. But how China developed the Beidou system? 30 years ago, China didn't have money, didn't have technology. And the GPS is a monopoly. And China said, oh, we made to do another alternative system in the navigation. We cooperated with the EU, with Europe. Europe have a kind of system called the Galileo system. Yeah. And China paid money and won't be there. The project didn't go very well, and especially they don't want China to learn how to build the system. China was forced then to develop their own Beidou system. There's a lot of internal resistance against China's own investment. They say this cannot make sense. Yeah, you are, as a later come, there is already American GPS, the European Galileo, and there is also Russian system exists. Why you do your own? And time proved this is right. Yeah, in military area, you cannot really depend on everything else. Yeah, but I also learned, actually happily to learn, in the drone production, Brazilian manufacturing, Brazilian industry was very innovative. They actually provide a lot of special kind of the drones here for the defense and also for other use, for other peaceful uses. So the military so-called superior position of the hyper-imperialism actually down. Yeah, Russia alone can actually oppose all the forces of NATO combined. Yeah, and the second, the third dimension of the hegemony is finance. In that space, I have to admit, we made just a little progress with BRICS Bank, with so-called Asia Infrastructure Investment Bank. Yeah, not much progress because we still dependent on the US dollar. So you can say only Russia actually had the full sovereignty in the financial space. Yeah, the cost is 300 billion US or Euro assets of Russia frozen in the Brussels. Yeah, in the Brussels. They discussed to confiscate or not. And China, the trouble with China is we have 1 to 2 trillion US assets still in the bonds or in the part of our state treasury, part of companies private persons deposit in the US dollar. And also our banking system in the past 4 decades actually really, how can I say, built according to the Western model. Yeah, so our commercial banking system, and this has consequences. Yeah, and the CPC is not happy with this, what happened, what existed in today's banking sector. So Xi Jinping called repeatedly to really restructure and to actually correct and adjust our financial sector and make the financial sector work for the purpose of people, yeah, not for themselves. China financial industry worked for themselves for over 20 years. So the GDP of the financial section in China is 8% of the GDP. And guess, the OECD, all these 13 OECD members, in average, their financial sector GDP is only 4.2%. So almost China got doubled. Make no sense. And who is also high is America. America is also 8%. But we understand America economy entered into this fictive economy, virtual economy, financial economy 30 years ago. And American actually served all the capitalists in the world. So they created a large portion, for sure. China only served the economy in China. Why they charge so high? No? The financial burden, the so-called value added of the financial sector, actually economically interpreted is the cost for the economy. So it means China had high financial costs for their economy. This is why it makes people in China in the real economy unhappy, yeah? And make the decision making unhappy. Yeah? Just one example, in the 20th CPC, National Congress, where we elected our Central Committee member, 200 Central Committee members, 0 from the financial sector. There are some in this whole candidate member, there are some, but in this ordinary member, 0. Yeah, in the media and information perspective, the battle in here, we also lag behind, for sure. Yeah. Also, we see improvement because we have the social media, we have independent voice now expressed. But think all this social media, all the influentials, they have to use some platform to actually distribute their voices. And those platforms, with only one exception, all controlled by the US, right? Which exception? TikTok. It's only TikTok. Yeah. So I asked Nina from the Brazil Fato to move to TikTok. Yeah. And but you know, TikTok in American already fell. Yeah, because US control the TikTok content creating in America. But it's still free in Latin America, other countries, and there's still TikTok is independently in Europe, and they're still free in Africa. Yeah. And I heard from the friend from the Socialist Party in Germany, Dirigente, and the young parliamentary said to me that their party 2 years ago they could win for 8%. Actually, almost they cannot win. People say they just got 4%, 3%. In Germany, you need to win 5% more, and then you are in the parliament. And they don't win 8%. So why? They said TikTok helped them. Yeah. So only TikTok platform, which now follow the main media voices, the traditional Western main media, they all created the fake news. This we are weak But how we change this, I think, is only in the concerted effort of the BRICS with Russia, with Brazil. I'm very happy I met some friends in the media space beyond Brazil de facto, also Pepper Cospa is a name. Yeah, Pepper. Now he's living in somewhere in China, and Russia's been a lot of his work with RT. I know today we have also RT friend here, right? So Russia today, and I went last year to the 20th anniversary day of the Russia Today in Moscow, where President Putin also attended this event. And when I saw Moscow, RT is the place that actually mobilized, they are connected a lot of international social influentials, even including many of America, to work in the RT platform. I think China, we say, in that event, we say, China, we should learn from RT, yeah? We hope our CTTN one day also can host so many diverse correspondents from the global south, yeah? And then to make our own voices. Yeah, this day will come. So if we, in the RT, maybe we need to do a global RT radio broadcasting. Yeah, maybe we need to do a RT channel, not RT, BRICS channel, yeah, to present the global south's voice. I think we can do that with the technology. China, Russia, and Brazil actually possess. Yeah. And the last dimension is the resource control, which is very important for a country like Brazil, but also for many Africa countries. Yeah. And so here, actually, the national government, the national bourgeois, don't have the same. Yeah, it's actually embedded in the international, big international capital cycle, the capital reproduction. So this issue also cannot solved individually by country. So it's just need more big community to work together. And this has also to do with the de-dollarization. For example, how we determine the price of the soya beans, yeah, coffees, yeah, and other big commodities. And it's now determined by Chicago futures. Yeah? So it's actually they make their financial gain there. Yeah? So it's linked to the third dimension, the financial and currency sovereignty dimension. Yeah. We are, I would say, in media, maybe in 5-10 years, we may make big progress. But in this currency, I'm more cautious. Yeah. But still, we can say we win already half. Yeah. So in technology space, in military space, we win, and in the media maybe 50%. We have the hope, and then okay. So this is a good base for us to consolidate us. Yeah. To move on. By saying so, I come to the second part, the role of China in the international disputes. So the disputes, we shouldn't understand in a narrow sense. We say it's only the military disputes. Yeah? And the disputes actually also about technology sovereignty, about currency sovereignty, right? So in this technology sovereignty, China tried now to do a good thing, to open source their AI platform infrastructure Many of the Brazilian friends I met know DeepSeek, yeah. And if DeepSeek is for free, you can use for free. I use DeepSeek free. If you are a company, you have to use more professional package of DeepSeek. You have to pay. So you pay maybe 38 cents for million token you use. Yeah? Token is the calculation unit for how AI do the work for you. For the same million token, cloud, US ChatGPT may charge you $4 or $5. So it's actually 10% difference. Yeah? So we actually, China, DeepSeek, and Qianwen from the Alibaba actually bring down the price. They democratize the use of the AI, which is very important for many small application developers in the global south country. Yeah? And also I mentioned TikTok is important because if you have the TikTok and then you got some tools in your political battle, if it comes to election, right? So then you still have something to balance. So I think China is doing that. In that case, is also trying to protect the independence of TikTok. Although TikTok as a company is a quasi-Chinese company because TikTok headquarters is in Singapore. Yeah, but the algorithm, the core algorithm developed in Beijing with the TikTok's mother company, ByteDance. By the way, ByteDance also developed a very interesting AI tools released 2 months ago in China called I forget the name. But this actually automatically make the videos. Yeah? So you just say some sentence into the system, and then they create for you like a movie quality video, short videos, yeah, and with music even. So China can do this help, but more important for me, the help is we should bring China should with Russia together, get a kind of training, technical training network for Global South to train their engineers. So, which I heard is also in Brazil. We have a short of engineers in the university. Although Brazil has very brilliant universities, yeah, but because you didn't do much industry, so a lot of the training can only be offered when you have the production facilities. Yeah, so the teaching and the work, the practice need to go hand with hand. So China has this advantage. But China should bring this advantage, bring this labs for training, bring this equipment for training, go into the countries, in the global south countries, and to provide this not only theoretical training, but it's really combined theory with production. Yeah, and so China called the system Luban. Fudan is a guy in ancient China who is the master for craftsmanship. So, but it's not enough. I looked at, there's a plan, only get 100, 200 Fudan Institute established in the next 5 years. So we need actually triple. We need 10 times those efforts go into the countries. This is China really can do. And the third thing, China in this currency sovereignty disputes, China should enlarge the portion of the RMB, RMB loans, RMB bonds. This is called Panda bonds. Panda is the China, Panda. So Panda bonds means Brazil company or Brazil institution, BNDES, can come to China and say, I raise RMB Panda bonds in Saudi in the Middle East or in London, and then raise RMB as the loan. And then when this raised, I got this RMB, I can then purchase the Chinese technology or other things I need. So this, and in many cases, you can use the RMB bonds to swap the US dominated bonds. Because the US dominated bonds have a relatively high interest. It's 4% interest. And the Chinese interest rate is 2.5. So it's low. So you can save your financing cost. When I went to Ghana last year, Ghana, the fiscal, the government revenue is going to pay the burden in their loans. So there's nothing left for do industrial promotion or educational support. The country is actually like handcuffed. I cannot do anything. But now Ghana got good time. The gold price is rising now. So the Ghana is impose the tax on the gold mining. So this is things China should do in this different dimension of the conflict. And then people will ask, how about the military confrontation? China, this I can say, China is not like Russia. So Russia, traditionally, Russia have very strategic thinking, also to plan military confrontation. Before Putin launched the war to take part of the Crimea back, which is speak Russian, which is the Russian culture, Putin planned 8 years, from 2014 to 2022. In these 8 years, Putin actually managed the food security for Russia. So they can self-rely on their food. Also, Russia realized the self-sufficient in many so-called consumer products. So when the war broke, the Western companies, especially German companies, come out of the Russia market. And then Russia also then started to reindustrialization, to build their manufacturing sector, very successful, with help of the China support, the China exports to them to support. So Putin planned well, but Russia is relatively, I'll say, in the population and in GDP, is smaller than China. China population and the China GDP much huge. So if China prepared total military confrontation with the US, we need a longer time to do this preparation, longer than Russia has done. So my observation is, when China said, we are not afraid. If the Americans stop us, our development, we will fight. But we are not looking for a fight. We're not picking a fight. So, but in order to prepare, you need a phase. So we just faced one phase in the past 8 years, from 2017 to 2025, where China said almost we become self-sufficient in the supply chain, in the technology. Certain technologies we didn't control, we didn't master, we still need to dependent on the import. But we almost there. And we need another 8 years to make our financial system less vulnerable. So if people ask me, what is the biggest task? President Fato asked me, what is the biggest task for China in the next 5 years? Beyond the goals, the objectives listed in China government report, the so-called government report just released 1 month or 1 week ago. we have this political station, political National Delegate Congress in China. So actually this was listed on the paper. But for me, the most crucial reform, or most crucial, I hate to say reform, yeah, but the most crucial restructuring is changing the banking sector, yeah, and then so make them self-sufficient, and they can decouple from the dollar system. Okay, so this, if we can do achieve that, then we be better prepared for confrontation, military, in the military aspect. Yeah, but anyway, if Americans say, we support the independence of Taiwan tomorrow, China will go in. Yeah, China will say, okay, although we are not prepared well, but if this instance comes, we have to fight. Yeah, then maybe we sacrifice a lot in the financial sector, but okay, yeah, who cares? It's war. So in this, this is why China will be cautious in direct articulating how China concretely will support Iran people. Yeah. Yesterday there was a question from the foreign journalist asking the spokesman of our foreign Minister of Foreign Affairs, did China support military support to Iran? Question. And the answer was very clever. China condemned the attack, and China firmly support Iranian people to carry their resistance and fight against Israel and America. Yeah. So it doesn't give a direct answer, but they take a position. Yeah. So for China reading, for our reading, a lot of geopolitical scholars, we have discussion, debates, and all say China will supply parts for the air defense, yeah, and will supply machinery parts Iran need to build their cannon, to build their missile, yeah. And this is easy to do because China already built the railway from China to Pakistan and to Iran. So we have a land corridor which can go to Iran directly. Actually, it was planned to use the corridor to go to Turkey and go to Europe, yeah? And then to actually avoid shipment from the open sea, because this open sea transportation easily intercepted by American, blockaded by American Navy. American Navy is still, would say, in their quantity, in their experiences, is still superior than the China Navy. We only got 3 carriers. American has 11, right? So it's not balanced well. So we want to avoid this vulnerability. Yeah, our import, our export blockaded in the sea routes. This is why we developed the railway. From Moscow is one, from Tehran, Turkey is another one. So this infrastructure exists already. Yeah? And last year, after June, 12 days battle, reporters say China already delivered a lot of stuff to Iran to replace the radar, the parts, the air defense parts, yeah, for Iran. And very happily for Iran is, okay, I can say also something maybe not shouldn't be reported, yeah. So just for this closed room, the public opinion for normal Chinese people are Iran shouldn't negotiate with Israel and America in the beginning about the nuclear weapons. Yeah, they should actually just execute, just done this. Yeah, like North Korea did. And then North Korea can defend themselves with this bomb. Yeah? Israel has right to develop the bomb. Why Iran didn't have the right? But internally in Iran, the leader, the leader who just got killed, he was opposed to develop the nuclear weapon. Yeah? But then how could you negotiate with American Israel about this issue? Yeah? They don't have any decent thinking, moral standing, yeah? And they just cheat you. So we regarded Iran was very soft, very opportunistic in the public opinion before. But then in the 12 days fighting, Iran did well. And now this going in a week, Iranian fight. And this time they're fighting very well. And then so the opinion, the public opinion in China, in the social media, changing, all supporting Iran. And this public opinion sentiment will be also give pressure for China top leadership to continue their supply, their how can I say, their support. But saying that, China will not do this openly, because, as I said, it's not the time to show all the cards with the American hegemony. Yeah? Very likely, Trump will even arrive in Beijing end of the month. But there are also talks. If the war continues, people have question mark how Trump come and which results actually Trump can get out of Beijing. This will be the embarrassment for both parties. Right? So big question. Yeah, big question. Having said that, and personally, I think that more Iranian people fight, and then more support they could get from China, from North Korea, and from Russia. Don't forget, Iran also provided the drone support for Russia in the Ukraine war, right? So I come to the third part. Maybe I already used my time. The China-Brazil relationship. So I need to do very quick here. So my feeling is actually Brazil has done their industrialization successfully. Yeah. So you go, JP told me, from 1930 goes to 1985, right? And you done well job. And I remember when China opened up by 80s, last century, around 1985, and Brazil was leading in many sectors. Yeah, so you have your own car brand, you have your commercial jet. Okay, you're leading in commercial jet even today. Yeah, even today, and computer trucks. So actually, for Chinese, the perception Brazil was already industrialized, and then getting into 1990. Before 1990, you got this, Latin America got this crisis, the debt crisis, yeah? So you have to deal with the wife. This was a setback. In the 90s, the global liberalism designed China should be the manufacturing hub for the world. Brazil should do this commodities business, yeah? And so this is the right division of the role. And then you slowed down. Some friends say you deindustrialized, but I wouldn't say much. I would say the knowledge I got, the impression I got, you just stay in the relatively high plateau. So you stay there. You didn't make further technological improvements, innovations in the middle high and in the high end of the manufacturing. This is you didn't do maybe I'm wrong, yeah, but not statistically significant, not significant. And this is why people say Brazil and Argentina track in this middle income trap. Actually, we have the same per capita income level measured in the US dollar. Yeah. I don't know in the GDP terms. But China, fortunately, actually, China was the same. 14 years ago, people also talk about the middle income trap for China. But somehow China overcame this income trap by developing their own technologies. Yeah? Self-sufficient. Why? One is because Xi Jinping, because he has the socialist dream. He said, how could we rely to import technology from the capitalist world? So the state-owned companies needed to put a lot of effort in this R&D. Yeah? And some part is actually done by the US. Huawei, example of Huawei. Huawei was about to sell to Motorola 20 years ago. And they already changed their share, the company share. And they celebrate the deal already okay. And the Motorola in the US changed the CEO. The CEO said, no, we don't want Huawei acquired. We compete with them. Yeah? And Huawei was forced to redo all this innovation, all these patents, yeah, because they rely on Motorola technology, rely on Cisco technology. They needed to all do their own for 20 years. So there are circumstances coming very fortunately to us. I spoke with the cameras from the consulate. So political will and the implementation, the big planning, because we have the planning too. We have a market, but we also have the planning. The planning people has foresight. They figure out how many sectors, clusters, we have to catch up. Very early on, 10 years ago. Yeah? But this can only be speed up by people who do this. These are the scientists. These are entrepreneurs in state sector, but also the majority, I would say, done by the private companies as well. Yeah? So we had the fortune. We penetrate the middle high level technology and even the high-end technology. They now have 20 disciplines or 20 areas in this high technology area. China leading 10, and another 5 is co-leading with the US, and the US leading another 5. So this is the situation. But Brazil should create their condition, their circumstances. I think the time is arrived. The time is arrived because the globalization wave, the global capital movement come to an end. And the US actually, the MAGA, they want to go out of this cycle first. And then Europe forced also to do their stuff. Europe just published the industrial policy. You published the industrial policy last year, right? I think for the year in 2024. You have a new Brazil industrial policy, right? So with some protectionism thinking, which is good, which I support, yeah, because I'm also a fan. I'm an economist, but I'm against the globalization. I think only selective autarky, selective protectionism can create innovation, can create job, can create industry. Yeah. So you just raise the tariff to protect your industry. Yeah? Even the tariff is against China, but you need to have the industry you to protect. Yeah. For example, in this solar panel, I asked around the solar panel parts, solar panel battery, very high price in Brazil, which really for me is a surprising me, yeah. And then you import, and I look, you imported the lot, and then you impose a 25% taxation. You raise from 9 to 25, okay? But you increase the tariff, just get this money for the government spending, and not help your green development, because the solar panel become expensive, and the renewable energy grid, the micro energy grid building is costly for people, for local industry, not good. If you raise this tariff, you need to have industry behind. You need, and I checked further, no real domestic solar panel producer exists in Brazil. Yeah, you have some joint venture, but the joint venture are not the real producing joint venture. They just do the montage. Yeah, the joint venture enjoyed the quota, free tariff quota, but they not really contribute the value added, local value added here. Yeah, so it's not good. For me, it's not good. So the time is coming, I say. We are coming into a new model, which I borrow from Samuel Amin, who said this 40 years ago. The neoliberal globalization order cannot sustainable. Yeah, will create a lot of problems. So what we need, before we have a socialist utopia world order, we need to have a regional cooperation. You call it polycentric, regional, new protectionism to support the development in the coordination. Because Brazil is a big country, 200 million, but not big enough. So better get 500 million people in CELAC. Yeah? But I know CELAC coordination is difficult. But why not to pick up a cluster, to pick up a corridor? You do special industrial cluster corridor, yeah? And then create the special attractiveness and then accumulate your talents. And why China is doing well in the drones, in the cell phones, and today in the EVs? Because all these companies sitting around Guangzhou, so Shenzhen, Hong Kong, you may know this, we call this Big Bay area in China South. And so innovation in these industries, from one industry goes to another industry, very easily. So if you can make good cell phone, then you can make good drones, then you can make good EVs, you can make good robotics. Okay, you say, Brazil, we are not good in cell phone, right? We didn't have a large cell phone producer. But you have good electronic producers. So I learned, called SEMP, right? SEMP is actually make a JV with TCL in China. So from this electronics, appliance electronics, you can got very interesting skills. And you have your jewels manufacturing. So your electronic appliance and the jewels industry should go together. Yeah, and your aviation, you have your aviation industry, the small commercial, commercial aviation industry go together with this, and then develop an unmanned flying vehicle. Yeah, and in China we have companies do that, but they don't have an application like you have. You have a huge space. You can do this. So when you actually cluster those industries in one region, and so miracle will happen. But you need to get the labs, you need to get the university all get there. Yeah? So you have chance. You have a big chance, and China should support. I know, learned, you have a big agro business capital, and maybe they make a lot of money in the financial bubble, in the financial market, and then in their traditional business. Yeah. Also, there's Chinese companies. They do so. They don't want to invest in innovation like Huawei. Yeah. They want to do the real estate, and this is why we got a big trouble. The real estate bubble, which China sink in this mat, and for 4 years we even didn't get out. So the real estate price in China is still not stable. Big concern for people and for the government. So then cooperate with Chinese companies. I say, and as a Chinese embassy, as a media, as a China think tank, we need to tell the Chinese entrepreneurs, regardless it's a private or public, coming to Latin America, coming to Brazil, you need to share technology with people here. You need to train the local people. You need to provide your cooperation with the federal university labs. Yeah? Allow the professor to do the core research. And then you redevelop a new innovation, local innovation, yeah, which can compete even with China. So only to those, the Chinese company can actually really successful, yeah, can do it. Interesting story. Barbara and me, we took a cab here in São Paulo, and the driver just complained about the Uber platform. Uber's commission charge is too high, and they say DD 1990 is quite cheap, 10% is reasonable, 10% commission. And I said, yeah, because DD is a newcomer, he comes into the market as a new competitor. He created his value by doing competition, bringing this down, right? But DD in China, when I travel in DD in China, DD has market share in China like Uber, 80%. And then everybody, driver, complain about DD's high commission, 25%, 27%. They reduced against the protest just 1%. Yeah, they complain. We have a lot of cost. Yeah, but so the company, this come the role of the state. Company is the same. So the private company, as I said, Huawei is exception. Huawei is exception. The majority of the private company in China, they still want making the profits. Yeah, the Marxist supply law still valid to them. But we have our planning. We have a state-owned policy. We have a lot of governance. So they have to behave to serve the people's purpose, to serve our plan targets. So we made them to be conform with the socialist model. But doesn't mean they already developed the consciousness of the socialist. Yeah? So when they come out in the capitalist environment, they behave like true capitalists. Yeah? So in Ghana, our leftist friends ask me, Libo, why don't you, China, send socialist companies here in Ghana? Why so many so bad capitalist companies come into Africa? I'm so sorry. This is not because the company is bad. We cannot choose, but they behave to their condition, to the environment in China. Yeah, we have a socialist environment, so they behave so. We have even foreign companies in China, right? So the foreign companies are not socialist at all. The foreign companies are the global capitalist companies, right, in China. They need to also obey. They need to also behave to be competitive. They cannot gain the market monopoly. When they gain, we crack down. When they do the corruption, we crack down. But in Ghana, who control the monopoly player behavior? Who control the corruption stuff, right? So this is my answer. Yeah, this is my answer. But as a state, the media, the think tank, the authorities, we have the duty to tell our private companies to actually say, if you want to stay longer healthy in this ecosystem, you need to support the technology transfer. You need to support the local, the hosting country, like in this case Brazil, to get up in their technology development. Yeah? So to share, this is the win-win. Only do so, we can think how this shared future of humanity, of Xi Jinping, can really implement it. But this is a long process. This takes 2-3 generations. Sorry. Okay, I think I finished my sharing, and now is the time for hard questions. Yeah. Sorry, this didn't work very well for the translators. I don't think it's okay. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. Yeah. So obrigado.
Muito obrigada, professor Libó. São muito ricas e profundas as exposições do professor Libó nesses dias aqui compartilhados com a gente aqui com o MST. A nossa proposta aqui, companheirada, diante do tempo, é a gente poder abrir para 2 blocos de perguntas, então, usando o microfone, para a gente poder ter a gravação aqui do professor, como as meninas recomendaram, então estamos abertos aqui para inscrições, questões, complementos também aqui, a análise. Pede para talvez que venha aqui na frente para poder usar.
Bom dia a todos, meu nome é Silvio. Bom dia, professor. Eu queria fazer uma pergunta, como é que o senhor está vendo os BRICS hoje? Né? Essa associação que depois colocou 10, além dos 5 originais, 10 próximos. A Argentina não está lá grande coisa. A Arábia Saudita também não. A África do Sul parece que também não está indo lá muito bem. O Brasil está muito pressionado pelos Estados Unidos, por causa da gente ter se tornado o maior parceiro da China na América, aqui, né? Quer dizer, a China ter tornado o maior parceiro do Brasil. E finalmente o que aconteceu com a Índia, nessa celebração que teve lá, que eles permitiram que os Estados Unidos bombardeassem um navio iraniano, né, e matassem as pessoas e afundassem esse navio. E na realidade a grande força dos BRICS hoje é a Rússia e a China associada ao Irã. Eu queria que o senhor fizesse alguma avaliação de como é que o senhor está vendo essa situação e como é que os BRICS poderiam atuar de maneira mais organizada. Obrigado.
Bom dia a todos, bom dia professor, sou o Gabriel. A minha pergunta vai no sentido de, eu acho que fica óbvio para a gente que o desenvolvimento da China que a gente vê hoje, ele é resultado do que foi a Revolução Socialista em 49. Diferente do que foi a União Soviética no século passado, quais são os caminhos que você enxerga e que esse projeto chinês enxerga para uma revolução socialista mundial e quais são os caminhos desse internacionalismo proletário que a China pode ter com os outros povos? Vendo em consideração que a gente tem um cenário de conflito militar, onde os BRICS e a Rússia e outros países têm essa posição. Qual que é, nesse cenário, o papel da China para a classe trabalhadora no mundo todo?
Bom dia a todos e todas, bom dia professor, obrigada pela aula, né, de hoje. A minha pergunta tem a ver um pouco com 2 aspectos que o senhor expôs. Já existe, né, nessa corrida tecnológica, os países do BRICS, sobretudo a China, já estão na frente do Ocidente, né? E também no aspecto econômico. No entanto, os Estados Unidos continuam sendo a maior potência militar do mundo. Considerando esse aspecto do desenvolvimento da inteligência artificial, que o senhor falou também, na dificuldade que os próprios Estados Unidos têm de avançar no desenvolvimento da inteligência artificial, e entendendo que essa tecnologia também está sendo usada com objetivos militares, inclusive agora, né, nesse novo conflito, essa união, né, do avanço da inteligência artificial, do avanço tecnológico e também já essa hegemonia econômica que existe, né, dos BRICS em relação ao G7, se isso poderia ser um aspecto determinante para vitórias militares também, para uma nova hegemonia militar também do Sul Global, sobretudo dos BRICS, a partir aí do conflito do Irã.
Obrigada, professor. A gente então devolve para esse primeiro bloco de questões e perguntas e depois a gente abre então para o segundo bloco, pode ser?
Regarding the questions of the BRICS membership and how BRICS can organize more effectively. At the beginning, people also has thought, say, the BRICS is so diverse in each country's conditions, yeah, and then no wonder actually they will take time to actually make this experiment. We shouldn't actually expect the magic solution come out the well-functioning institution. Even the BRICS Bank, which has founded 10 years ago and didn't do a very good job, actually. Duma is now the president. Actually, there's a bureaucratic structure around her. So even she wants to do something, and she say it's need to be the consensus agreement from the founding member countries, which are 5. And actually, because Russia was under sanction, and then Duma could do another new term as the president. But still, we say there's a new born mechanism, yeah. And then what is alternative? So UN, you go to UN to ask them to think about the development sovereignty. UN has the agency called UNDP, but the UNDP, what UNDP do, right? So UNDP actually produce more wrong concept suggestions for the countries where they're sitting. So I'm still cautious, optimistic about the BRICS. Even you talk about the Indians' behavior maybe is a little optimistic. He received Netanyahu last week, right? Did very sweet talking, because Indian still want something from America, and America but treated the Indian as a non-equal partner. There is one American undersecretary official in the State Department said 2 days ago, we cannot allow Indian, cannot give Indian a good trade policy, otherwise Indian become our competitor. Like, we cannot do the mistake again. China, we allow China to become the competitor, and this time we'll be aware. And Indian will see, Indian is under this hegemony. So what actually combines all the BRICS countries, somehow, only Russia is a full sovereign company, a sovereign state, I would say, only Russia. Everyone else actually is kind of dependent, kindly under the bully of the US, of the global north, even China, under US dollar hegemony, as I said. So this combined us, and the struggle will teach the members of each BRICS members how they need to stick together, how they need to find very innovative new solutions. Yeah, this brings me, because Latin America is the trouble. America is close, right? It's close. China, Russia is far away. And how we do? If we select CELAC corridor cooperation with BRICS. But I will bring the example of ASEAN country do well. ASEAN country is actually how can I say, is in between, sitting between big neighbor China and the U.S. power. So they also to balance the U.S. hegemony with the integration with China economically, how they go. And then they developed the mechanism called 10+3. So 10 ASEAN countries plus China, Japan, South Korea, where China, Japan actually is potential, they have potential conflicts. Yeah? And also ASEAN-US dialogue, and ASEAN-EU dialogue. So I actually, you should find out, in this complicated condition, you cannot just easily to carry the anti-American, anti-imperialist parola, and then you want to make an advance. No, sometimes you need a tactic. You do the tactical move to win the battle. So why not CELAC China, CELAC US, CELAC EU? Or maybe you have, I don't know. Yeah, so maybe you have. Our media only reported the CELAC China summit every 2 years. I didn't hear much in CELAC US. The second question goes deep. It's actually ask how, in which way China inspired, and further, what is about the internationalism of China about today, right? As I said in the beginning, yes, we are lucky. We had this revolution in China, and but the revolution cannot export it to other countries, yeah. And according to Xi Jinping, China is not exporting the revolution, yeah. Even we say we have the shared future of the humanity, and even Xi Jinping goes say we need to restore the global governance. It's called the Global Governance Initiative, because he sees without the proper governance, you cannot get the security. Without the security, you cannot get the sovereignty, and you cannot get development. Yeah. So, but the revolution cannot be exported. Yeah. Revolution can only be done by own people. The revolution in China is not exported by the Soviet Union. Yeah. It's because the China people, intellectuals, workers, they decided to found the CPC, where the Soviet comrades come in to support in a crucial way. So the China Socialist project has high probability to win. In my interpretation, maybe different from the official. We didn't say the socialist battle already won in China. Yeah, still not. Still, we needed to learn how to operate with the market, how to operate with the capital, right? So, and one thing actually we missed, or we actually degraded our skill ability, is the internationalism. Yeah, Mao Zedong time we are on the high, and then we got to play this game of neoliberal globalization. Yeah, so people actually also become brainwashed to look just their own material interest. Yeah, what I actually, for me, the profound lesson, the MST create a unique experiment of humankind. Is living in the capitalist controlled dominated world, but you are managing 500,000 people to live a high standard of living eternal goal. Yeah, you can say socialism also in that sense, maybe socialism. So you practice the kind of the collective belonging. You actually. This experience is rare. You need to appreciate it much. Yeah? And we are lag behind in this respect. Okay, our leaders know that. We have to rebuild that. Yeah? But rebuild that is much difficult than building the materialistic material condition. Much harder than do machinery. Much harder than do scientific breakthrough. Yeah? This cannot be in a hurry down. It's about human. It's about the new education. It's about the new breed of the socialist people. China, not yet, not that. Yeah, so not yet. And with this, we did have a. Maybe you will be a little bit sometimes disappointed about the way China carry out the internationalism. Yeah, internationalism means sacrifice you and then support, solidarity. And Iranian support, for me, is not internationalism. This is still geopolitical interest, yeah? So you get American down in the war, you get American another war, and then we can better prepare ourselves win the time. This is not internationalism, this is geopolitics. And the third is the AI militarization and how BRICS to do that. So BRICS cannot be a militarized platform entity. It's not good. If we go, so I don't know whether I understand the question correctly. Yeah? So at one hand, the American or the tech world, Silicon Valley, they over-report, they how can I say, state the AI roles in this struct. Yeah? I worked in the tech industry for 20 years. So I know the company Palantir and Cloud, yeah. So it's not like that said, yeah. Don't let them fool you, yeah. It's very conventional technology, yeah. So like Palantir did many times in the past, and those technologies, China can easily have, no worry, and the robotics. Industrial robotics, if they say you turn to the military use, maybe American is way behind China, for China robotics doing. Yeah, but wait how Elon Musk, Tesla can do something. BRICS is an economic, political platform. Shouldn't be a military platform per se. Okay.
Obrigada, professor. Vamos abrir para mais um segundo bloco de questões, por favor. Bom dia, eu me chamo Carlito, faço parte do setor de produção do MST e gostaria de agradecer pela exposição e fazer a seguinte pergunta, professor. Para termos um futuro compartilhado, é necessário... Para termos um futuro compartilhado, a gente tem que ter uma coisa que a gente vem chamando de casa comum. E essa casa comum é o planeta Terra. E para a gente avançar na modernização que o senhor apresentou, a gente necessariamente precisa de se utilizar, lançar mão dos bens comuns da natureza. Terra, água, minério. E aí eu queria escutar um pouco o senhor, na perspectiva chinesa, como aliar os avanços tecnológicos com os cuidados com a natureza, com os bens comuns, em tempos de mudanças climáticas drásticas, em tempo de crise ambiental. Então, como avançar, né, no processo tecnológico e seguir cuidando da nossa casa comum, para a gente, de fato, ter um futuro compartilhado.
Oi, bom dia. Primeiro, obrigada, professor, pela palestra, foi ótima. Eu sou Isabela, faço parte do movimento pela soberania popular na mineração e também sou colaboradora do BR Cidades aqui da casa. Eu vou fazer duas perguntas, uma vai puxar na outra rapidinho, assim, mas o professor comentou um pouquinho do processo de industrialização no Brasil E eu acho que ele, enfim, o que a gente passou aqui, a gente costuma chamar até de industrialização pesada, porque ele não diminuiu aí o peso do setor primário na economia nacional. Essa semana saiu o resultado do PIB brasileiro, que a gente viu que cresceu aí 2,3%, mas que isso foi puxado muito pelo agronegócio e pelas atividades extrativas, assim. E nos últimos anos a gente observa que tanto governos conservadores quanto progressistas entendem o setor primário e atividades como mineração, petroquímica, agronegócio, como caminhos para financiar políticas públicas no Brasil, né? Então, enfim, muito comenta até sobre o processo de reprimarização no Brasil e tudo mais, e a gente vem sofrendo aí ao longo dos anos com os impactos dessas atividades. Acho que um exemplo eram os desastres em Mariana e Brumadinho, de rompimentos de barragem aí ligados às atividades de mineração, que vem impactando inúmeras comunidades. Enfim, e você comentou também durante a palestra que essa relação com os recursos naturais a gente nunca vai conseguir superar isoladamente, né, enquanto nação, assim. Então eu queria entender um pouquinho melhor como a China lida com essa questão dos recursos naturais. Acho que vai tem um pouco a ver também com a pergunta da companheira aqui anterior. E também queria fazer uma pergunta enquanto arquiteta e urbanista. Assim, eu acho que o processo de industrialização no Brasil foi muito impulsionou por uma urbanização acelerada no Brasil, e hoje a gente vive inúmeros, enfim, problemas aí em função dessa urbanização acelerada, e eu acho que a China também nos últimos anos vive um processo de urbanização acelerada, né? Queria entender como que ela vem lidando aí com os desafios impostos por isso. E é isso, obrigada, desculpa, foi muito longa.
Mais alguém?
Bom dia, professor. Também me soma aos agradecimentos e eu gostaria de ouvi-lo um pouco mais. Em algum momento da sua apresentação, o senhor falou que a sua avaliação que a China deveria focar na busca de soberania do setor financeiro. A gente vê algumas notícias sobre os acordos de swap ou o aumento das reservas de ouro por parte da China, mas o senhor também comentou dessa mudança de fazer o sistema bancário mudar essa busca pelos seus próprios interesses para a busca de interesses da população. E aí eu gostaria de saber se a China tem feito alguma movimentação nesse sentido, e se não, qual seria a sua avaliação do que poderia ser feito para mudar esse objetivo do sistema bancário.
A gente tem só mais uma questão, professor, e a gente já passa também para as respostas e as considerações.
Bom dia de novo. Professor, no Brasil a gente criou um sistema de pagamento chamado PIX, que não passa pelos cartões de crédito, ele vai direto de uma transferência interbancária, a compensação interbancária direta de um para o outro. Parece que na Europa, em alguns lugares, já estão usando, na França, e a Indonésia está criando um sistema muito parecido. Eles fizeram uma reforma interbancária lá, e está uma coisa mais ou menos parecida. O senhor acha que isso a longo prazo pode ser um mecanismo de substituição do dólar, na medida que a compensação interbancária não precisa passar necessariamente por uma moeda única e nem pela transferência de reservas cambiais?
Bem, obrigada, professor. Então a gente devolve para as questões e a gente poder também já ir fazendo as considerações finais.
Yeah. Thank you for these excellent questions. Actually, it goes in two directions. One is the green, the ecological vision, how China actually, so how serious China is actually committed to that. And another is more the banking and the de-dollarization. Yeah. Maybe I will answer in those, not 4 questions for me. Yeah. So I better practice in two areas to answer, and hopefully to give your answers. And today, China is actually fortunate in a fortunate position. We developed a lot of the ecological friendly technologies, so we can. This was in control of the European companies, and now we produce the technologies and at a very cheap price. So the solar panel, the world, China is actually 1/8, 1/10 of the European American price. Yeah, so they cannot really compete. And the actually it's not about this do this like a business. Yeah, the fact is a business, but meaning is the planet of the Earth. I agree. Is China, Xi Jinping realized we cannot go this Western style of modernization where we destroy our urban area, destroy our villages, and so we have to keep our country, the rural area, provide an alternative life. So he called the project revitalization of the rural area, 乡村振兴. So after this poverty alleviation project that is done, so now we are going into there was 5 years ago launched, and we go another 10 years, 15 years to revitalize our rural area, which was also neglected in this fast urbanization. And till now, there are professors in Chinese scholars, they say we need a mega city like Tokyo, like São Paulo, big area. Yeah, still in Shanghai there are professors, and but the leadership they were clear. We cannot have this kind of big city anymore, especially after the pandemic shows there is a huge vulnerability in this current metropolis city system. Yeah, and so all the efforts actually in the past 10 years, a lot of public investment poured into the countryside, into the west part of the rural area, and I traveled a lot in last year. Went to different small towns, actually 30 such small towns in different parts of China. Everywhere you go, the infrastructure done very well. Wi-Fi, sanitation, water. So the things, and actually MSD cooperative also done very well in the settlement. Yeah. So, but with a difference. In the villages, most of the people living there, stay there, are about 50s. Yeah? So some come back from the city where they sacrificed their life, their health in the factory, come back to rural worker. Yeah? And some even older. Yeah? And there are kids, because the parents is working in the city, has no time to take the kids for the education. So the grandma take care. So this is not right picture. But fortunately, we heard in the past 3 years, there are 20 million young people. They graduated in the city. Now they choose to leave big city, to go into the small towns, to the county city, we call 县城, to the small towns, to live there and help in this rural area development, and to help in the local industries, which China, actually the CPC contribute one thing very well. We have part of the agro business, but it's not run by individual. It's run by big state farm, yeah, by big state enterprise. So CPC can easily direct them to use organic bio-inputs, very easy. Yeah, so this is, and then this just make 30%, 40%. And the majority is still small-scale agricultural project, which need to be done by the farmers themselves. And so those farmers now, they know they have to use the green technology, yeah, the smart technology, and then the society is become aware about the ecological devastation yeah, in the food supply chain. So it's a good, very good chance China and Brazil can learn from each other. I know that Cuba and Brazil is leading in the bioecological research. Yeah. China also do a lot, but not, to my knowledge, not really roll out in the individual projects. Yeah. So this is the cooperation field. Mining, yeah, you mentioned the mining. I know the 70% of this big company in Brazil, they sell into China. Yeah, this iron ore, the company, and they also determine the price in the world market. I actually did a study in 5 years ago, and then there's particularly in China, we need to recycle the metals. Yeah, so China, so maybe in 10 years, China will not become the big importer of the iron ore when the recycling process further. Yeah, so this is good news, I think. Yeah, this is no need to. Okay, for the exporter industry, this is bad news for them, right? Yeah. And about the urbanization of city. Today we have 400 million people living in the rural area. Still, China is 1.4 billion. Yeah? And the big problem, if some teacher goes to the village to live, the problem is the education, the kids. Right? So because each village cannot support the school anymore, many schools moved now to small town from the village, and from small town to small, we call county level city, yeah, where you have a high school to go. But since we have very good infrastructure, as I explained, so the people with graduation degree, or even from big city, decide to work in the village. They can commute from the county city where the high school is, and to the house in the small town or in the village, half-hour drive. So it's easy. Yeah, it's much better than you live in the big city and then you commuting for 1.5 hours in the big city. So actually we see this trend. Young people prefer to go back in the urban area. Especially in the urban area, they can do things in more innovative, more, how can I say, self-fulfilled the life. So it's kind of the emancipation. Yeah? So in MSD, we have a collective work, and which forge the emancipation. Yeah? In China, sorry, still we don't get there. Yeah? We have the Confucius religion, but we need to get there. And then we can revive this tradition. But people in countryside, they feel they can develop their own venture. Yeah? They feel their purpose. They don't fall into the city consumerism, yeah? The cliche way of life. Yeah? And I'm very happy to see actually the luxurious business is dying in China. The luxurious business, the foreign importer, luxury French, Italian brand, dying in China for the middle class. So people really now turn to a very rational way about their consumption, their value. So this help to revitalization of the rural area. So we cannot expect that all people living now in the village, but that they can live in a small town and village. So this is the step China moving. About the banking, yes, we have a digital payment. Actually, our card, I use credit card only when I go to Brazil or to Ghana. And in Russia, you cannot use the credit card anymore, right? Because it's under sanction. and then you use in Russia you use paper payment, and then in China we only use WeChat Pay, Alipay. Businesses use Alipay. So maybe the digital payment will help us to circum the traditional banking business. Yeah. Also, the banking sector in China, they don't actually do their traditional job to minimize the risk, to calculate the better offer for you. They just want to suck from you. Yeah? They just want all the have backed by the assets. So it's why we need to give this bank the license for their monopoly. Yeah? So when I come back to China, I will have a discussion with some scholars called, we need to get the reg financing, the revolutionary financing, yeah, which CPC actually practiced when in the revolutionary base and the anti-Japanese war. We don't need this so-called international financing system. Yeah? No. We need to be careful, I would say so. We need to be decoupled from there. And China has actually an advantage because we have Hong Kong. Hong Kong is a financial center, so we can let a lot of transactions doing in Hong Kong. Yeah? And then better to protect our domestic financial world. So this will be a strategy developed in the next 2-3 years. Yeah. And de-dollarization, the payment is not the problem. China has a ship system similar. Actually, people say 90% of the China foreign trade with different countries, with 100 countries, can be done in RMB and through this China ship system. But the trouble is, the ships is still linked to SWIFT, actually, somehow. So instructions of payment, the SWIFT system can see that they can do sanctions, yeah? So we need one instant, when we declare to bomb the fleet based in Japan, and then we say decouple from the SWIFT, yeah? In a Taiwan, in a possible Taiwan conflict, yeah? So this will be decoupled. But after decouple with US dollar, what is the future currency? It's still uncertain. Is this a BRICS currency? So we discuss, yeah? Is this a kind of BRICS currency can be made of combination of Russian money, Brazil, China, Indian, but will Indian play here, or will Indian still optimistic with the US? Yeah? And maybe a simplest thing is to do Chinese use RMB, because everybody traded with RMB. RMB is backed by gold and backed by their manufacturing power, right? Backed by their green technology they produce. So backed by the energy, if you say that, the future energy. And but the central bank, People's Bank of China, is hesitating. They didn't have the experiences. If a lot of countries use the RMB overseas, and when the RMB come back to China system, what happened? So they didn't learn the bureaucrats. So they need to learn that still. Yeah. This takes time. So yeah. So it's good news for Washington today, for Trump. I don't call the de-dollarization very soon. But the reason is because we don't actually figure out how we do that. Thank you. Obrigado.
Muito obrigada, professor, em nome de toda a militância de diversos movimentos populares que estamos aqui, diversos pesquisadores e professores de diversas instituições também muito parceiras, e seguindo esse ensinamento desse desafio das articulações dos povos do Sul Global e esse ensinamento do Xi Jinping da comunidade, do futuro compartilhado com a humanidade, né? Ele ainda fala desse desafio que é construir um caminho de construir um mundo de paz duradoura, de segurança universal, de prosperidade comum, que seja aberto, inclusivo e belo. Então, nesse sentido também de agradecimento, a gente quer convidar a companheira Zildinete para fazer aqui o agradecimento ao professor por essa manhã compartilhada aqui, tão importante para nós, para as lutas que nós vamos ter aqui no próximo período.
Então, assim, se nós observarmos esse edifício, essa casa, nós vamos poder perceber que várias colunas nós temos frases vivas e motivadoras. Entre elas, nós temos a do nosso patrono, Carlito Maia, que diz assim: nós não precisamos de muita coisa, apenas uns dos outros. No sentido de compartilhar o conhecimento, de instigar a vontade, a articulação e a ação. Então, em nome da Casa Carlito Maia, eu agradeço a presença de cada um e cada uma de vocês e digo que essa casa vai estar sempre aberta para vocês. E também quero agradecer ao professor Lipo, por partilhar o conhecimento, partilhar todo o seu conhecimento nessa manhã de sábado. E na certeza de que cada um e cada uma de nós aqui sairemos diferentes e instigados à luta. Muito obrigada.
Companheirada, o Armazém do Campo vai servir almoço, né, tradicional dos nossos sábados. Hoje o cardápio é moqueca de peixe, então fica o convite aqui também para quem quiser almoçar aqui com a gente no Armazém do Campo, e agradecendo aqui a atividade.